Walk up in this bitch like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, bitch, I'm really him, on God. Walking this bitch like, yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, bitch, I'm really him, on God.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Rush. It is your boy, Maxx Crosby, in the building. I got my brothers with me, Brogan Roback, Darian Terrell, and today we have a very, very special guest. We got 1997, the year I was born, Heisman Trophy winner. We have the 4th overall pick. Sorry to make you feel old. But the 1997, like I said, national champion, 4th overall pick, rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, all-decade team. I could go on and on, but this man is a living legend, one of the biggest inspirations to me personally. I've told you this before, but the way you carry yourself on and off the field, the way you set the standard for how your position is played, you're an absolute legend. So today we would love to welcome to The Rush, Charles Woodson. Welcome, brother.
Yeah. My man. Appreciate you guys, man.
Welcome.
I know this is short notice, man. I would have got some, some stuff over there. At least, Max, you can at least hold it up. I know you ain't drinking. y'all drink something though, man. I know y'all.
We got
I'll drink it.
There you go.
Exactly.
Trust me, if anybody will, I'll be your guy.
Yeah, Darian's your point man on that. But anyway, we'll kick it off like this. What is going on in the life of Charles Woodson nowadays? Obviously retired, Hall of Famer, done so many great things. What does your everyday life look like now?
Man, really pretty laid back, especially, like the last couple of weeks after the season is over. During the season, I'm back and forth. I live in Florida, but I'm in the studio in LA, at the Fox kickoff show. But after the Super Bowl's over, then it's like my off season, so I've been able to kind of relax, be at home. I got, married, I have 2 boys. And so both of my boys are, football players. Both of them love the game.
Hell yeah.
And so, after we get them off to school, then it's, typically, whatever, phone calls I got to make, revolving around whatever I have going on. I try to do that. And like I say, with this time of year, with not having much going on, man, sometimes I drop them off. I can come back and go back to sleep too. You know what I mean? So I can get my naps in, man. At 48 years old, I need my naps, But then like today, the team, repping my Lake Nona Lions right here, starting their workouts, leading up into the spring ball. So, the last few weeks they've had their off-season conditioning. So a couple times a week out there with the guys after they get their workouts in the weight room, take them out on the field, run them through some conditioning and that sort of thing. And then it just all depends on, what I have scheduled, in terms of, last week I was down in Fort Lauderdale, had a wine dinner. And then during the weekend, I skated out to Vegas for a couple of days. Went to Emmett's 1 year anniversary at his restaurant.
Hell yeah.
I was at the M Resort, kicking it with Michael and the crew over there at M Resort last Friday or last Thursday. So it just all depends, man. Everything can be pretty sporadic, depending on what I have going on. But these last couple of weeks has really been cool because I've been able to just kind of, chill, relax, and kind of reset my brain a little bit.
I love it. And you've earned that 18 years in the league. I mean,
man, I put in a long run, man.
100%. One of the, longest tenured DBs and did it at a high level for that long. You definitely deserve your naps. I'm 27 and I still need my naps every day. So I'm not playing about my naps. But we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're glad you're doing well, obviously. But this is our new segment. We call it this the 2-minute drill. So we're going to hit you with this or that. And you could explain as much as you want. You could keep it simple as just the answer. But I'm going to hit you with a few questions, and we'll see how this goes. So we're going to start this off real quick. Okay, Raiders or Packers?
He goes right
Jesus.
Yeah, he went right for the jugular.
Hey, we're gonna ease into this.
Yeah, that was a little banger right off the bat.
Right out the gate. You got to start heavy.
Yeah. So yeah, since I get to kind of go into everything a little bit and kind of
Yeah,
explain,
Hmm.
absolutely.
know what I mean, myself, uh, I would say the Raiders are my first love. You know what I'm saying? I would kind of put it like that. So you mentioned 1998, I got drafted there, and for me, going to the Raiders and really not knowing a whole lot of the history, what I'm saying, of the Raiders and all of that. But when I got there and first being introduced to Willie Brown, um, of course, Al Davis and Freddie Biletnikoff and all of those guys, it was, very quickly, I understood what, Raider Nation was all about. So, I played there, got drafted there. I played there a total of 11 seasons because I left and came back.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what's going to be the closest to my heart, it's going to be the Raiders all day long. But at the same time, I could never, kind of poo-poo, what happened over there with my Green Bay Packers because I went over there after leaving the Raiders and not, kind of reluctantly, going there. And then things kind of unfolded, and really just took off. I mean, I had 7, crazy years, over there in Green Bay, which, highlighted, of course, by winning a Super Bowl, winning the Defensive Player of the Year, led the league in interceptions a couple of times. I think 37 interceptions over those 7 years, and I forget how many touchdowns. So went crazy over there in the green and gold. You know what I mean? And I got my ring over there. So though my first love, of course, is the silver and black. The Packers played a significant role not only in my life but just my playing career.
Amen. No, that's a great answer. I mean, you answered that perfectly. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
I had to give you I
no,
got to give you the full thing when I talk about them two teams, man.
no,
I can't get
100%.
around that.
No, no
Can
way.
I
You got
ask
to.
really quick too before we go on? I don't mean to chop it up, but what was it like super quickly for you to leave an organization that drafted you, that was your first love that you spoke about, and then to come back, years later? Like, what was that process like for you? Was it weird at all? From outside looking in, I'm sure people are like, what would it be like to go back to a team, that essentially that you left or that, you didn't, what I mean? Like, that's got to be a weird little thing.
Yeah, it was weird because I never thought I would leave Oakland. I always tell people that when I got there was another guy there named Daryl Russell. I think you guys probably remember Daryl. Man, Daryl was my guy. But me and him were looked at as Al's guys. You know what I mean? So all of the other vets used to always be like, man, y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all gonna be Raiders for life. And
Yeah.
so, I kind of bought into that. Like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be, Raiders for life. I would never go anywhere. And then, over the years, different people come in, different people are kind of running the organization, and the relationships kind of sour a little bit. I had some injuries, my last couple of years. My last year there, I broke my leg, so I ended up missing the last 6 games of that season, or the last 10 games of that season. And so the relationship soured. Then it came down to I had been franchised twice. They got to figure out, are you going to pay me now? Are you going to franchise me? What's going to happen? They decided to let me go. So I was, that kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, damn, okay. No need for my services here anymore at Silver and Black. So I go over to Green Bay, play there 7 years. And then again, I'm thinking I'm gonna retire in Green Bay. Like I told you guys, I just ran down all the interceptions, Super Bowl, whole nine. They decided I wasn't, maybe I was getting too old or I, wasn't good enough anymore, whatever it is. And so free agency comes around. I'm a free agent again. I remember taking a visit to Denver, took a visit to San Francisco. I kind of thought that might play out because Jim Harbaugh was there. That didn't work out. And then I remember getting a call from Zach Crockett, and Zach was in the scout department with the Raiders. And he was like, man, you need to come on home, man. Come on home. And I was like, Zach, what are you talking about? He was like, man, come on back to the Raiders, man. You know you want to come back here. And honestly, I hadn't thought about it. I had never thought about, coming back to the Raiders. I was, my agent was talking to these other teams. I took those visits to Denver, San Fran. And I was like, let me I hear you. And so set up a call. Me and Reggie McKenzie was the GM at the time. And he was like, man, Charles, come on out, man, and take a visit. Like, all right, I'll come out. And what was crazy is not knowing how I was going to be received, coming back, you know, uh, social media was kind of buzzing around that time about me coming back and visiting. And, people showed up at the facility like that morning that I was supposed to get in. And, I'm kind of looking on my stuff like, oh man, what's going on? And so crazy thing is that I think my flight was delayed. So I didn't get there when I was supposed to get there. But I get there and a lot of people had still stayed around and the facilities over there in Alameda, man, it was just tons of Raider fans. And at that instant, man, it was like, damn, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is where I'm supposed to be, man. And so, we ended up getting it done. And then 3 more seasons, putting it down in the silver and black, man. And honestly, man, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think it worked out the way it was supposed to.
100%. No, it's legendary. The Last Dance, last couple of
The
years,
Last Dance, straight up.
as legendary. And those pictures too, you holding up the O in the stadium, like your last game and all that. That's
Dude,
legendary.
that Coliseum, man, was a monster, man.
Hell yeah,
Coliseum
it's a
was
different animal.
yeah, no doubt.
100%. Well, I mean, you helped me get to my next question, which is Coliseum or Lambeau. What's your answer on that?
Yeah, another good one. I think because the Coliseum was really really old and really run down. I think it kind of gets a bad rap in terms of all of the other stadiums out there, and everybody had their some rebuilt stadiums or teams moved or whatnot. So the Coliseum wasn't looked at that way.
Yeah.
But if you ever played in that Coliseum and you run down there to that black hole, it was a different vibe. You know what I mean? When that stadium was rocking, there was nothing like it. And when I mean like making it to the playoffs and having like a Magic Johnson on the sideline, you had all the the big time Raider fans that were LA's Raider fans, Oakland Raider fans, and just the kind of the scene that was set in that stadium was like I don't think there was anything kind of like that energy in terms of playing in a particular stadium. Lambeau definitely has the historical factor. Vince Lombardi and the stadium kind of being where it sits in a community, like is awesome. But in terms of an energy level, the Coliseum was a monster.
One of one to say the least. Okay, we're gonna hit you. I'm gonna shorten this up a little bit because we got a lot of questions for you, but I'm gonna hit you with a couple more. So, corner or safety?
Corner. Yeah, corner. That's an easy one. So,
Easy.
yeah. We could do a quick one with that one. I don't have to explain that one too much.
Perfect. Heisman or DPOY? That's tough.
Man, that is tough.
And your Heisman's different from everybody else's,
It's way different. That's way different than anybody. Man, I think the way I see it is that DPOY is at the highest level. You know what I mean? I kind of put everything in that realm. Like whatever happens in the NFL, like ain't nothing beyond that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to win Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL against the elite of the elite. By that much though.
That's so hard. Yeah, that's so hard.
Because the Heisman's crazy. The Heisman crazy. The guys that I went up against being the defensive guy, that was crazy. But I'm gonna go NFL tops everything.
I love it. Okay, this is the last one I'm gonna hit you with. Simple, straightforward. 21 or 24?
24.
24. Yeah.
24.
I expected that. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, Brogan, you take over. You got him.
No, yeah, absolutely. So obviously that was the wrap up of the 2-minute drill. We're just going to do a little Q&A with you.
We went into overtime. That was a little
Yeah, we
longer
did.
than the 2
Yeah.
That was a
minutes.
little overtime.
There's a lot of pass plays. We're good.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
when you're doing conditioning, and you're going for like 40 minutes straight, and then all of a sudden the strength coach goes, "Yeah, let's do 5 more, a little overtime." You're like, dog.
Yeah.
I just went as hard as I could the last
You
few
live
reps
for
because I thought it
That's
was
what you
over.
live
Right.
for.
You-
Come on. Charles knows this.
That's the most max
Extra
response ever.
OT. Come on.
All right, everyone. Listen, y'all know I've been talking about MoonPay for a minute now. Even Darian has been talking about it. And I'm not stopping anytime soon because it's just that good. Okay? You've heard me mention MoonPay app before, and for a reason, it makes buying and selling crypto dumb easy. All right? There's no headaches, no hassle. But today I want to break down what makes MoonPay next level. MoonPay powers the entire crypto game. Some people call it the PayPal of crypto. And they're not wrong. Just like you can buy anything online with PayPal, now you can use MoonPay to buy anything in crypto. Seriously, guys, nearly every crypto app you're using or thinking about using uses MoonPay to let you buy crypto with your favorite payment methods, including credit cards, debit cards, our personal favorite, Venmo, and even PayPal, like we mentioned. And here is the kicker for you guys. MoonPay works with Sweat Wallet, an app that actually rewards you for moving. That's right. You're already out here grinding, hitting 10K steps a day. Now you can turn those steps into crypto. Download Sweat Wallet, rack up your steps, and buy MoonPay right in the app. One thing to remember, though, crypto moves fast, sometimes really fast, and it's not for the weak. Do your own research, know the risks that are involved, and trade smart. MoonPay makes things easy, but they're not your financial advisor. You got to play this game responsibly. Now, get out there, put in the work, make it happen. Let's go. Now, I want to ask you, man, obviously the draft is upcoming. There's a lot of buzz, and obviously the Raiders have number 6 pick. So I'm just curious, just from your expertise and outside looking in, what are you anticipating the Raiders doing at that pick, or what's a major need in your opinion for them?
Yeah, I don't know. I really haven't dug into it in terms of like specific players,
Mm-hmm.
or who I think they would draft. But I think in terms of needs, I think you definitely have a need. On the defensive side of the ball, you're in need of another linebacker. We have to get, you got to get an instinctive guy. You got to get another guy that can get sideline to sideline. Someone who's not afraid to make plays. So I think linebackers definitely is of importance. I think you can never have too many corners. You guys matter of fact, you just lost the corner that just went over to Green Bay like I did. So you got to get another corner in the building. Somebody that's really special on the outside. You know what I mean? Somebody that you can match up with guys. I think safety is going to be another one. I know Trevor just left. Maury just left. So you guys have some holes to fill. And then for me, I think that, man, you got to start looking, really interior wise. That's the way the game is won. If you look at the Super Bowl and you look at the rotation of guys that Philly had on that defensive line, guys that you can come in that are fresh all game long. You can get there with 4 guys, a 4-man pressure, and not allowing quarterbacks to escape, through those little windows, then that's at a premium. So if you can get you another, I know you guys got Kuntz coming back.
Yep.
Wilkins is coming back. So you got a couple of guys there, but I would say add another guy, explosive guy on the defensive line. And then from there, offensively, bring in some size. I know when I got into the league and Gruden was there, man, his emphasis was on getting big guys up front. So the more big guys you can get up front on the offensive line, and that just helps out no matter what's happening at the quarterback position. You can have somebody who might not be the best, might not be the most mobile, but if you can protect them and you can give them a little time, then it just helps out everybody on the outside getting into their routes and things like that. So I think that's kind of the way I see in terms of the Raiders as a team, linebacker, another kind of lockdown corner type of guy, safety in the back end, and then start building out that interior, that offensive defensive line.
I love it. Showing the big boys love.
Got to.
Got to. D's
to.
like, got to. I think, and the other to kind of go ahead. You got one, D?
No, I said he gets it. Let
Yeah,
the big dogs eat.
The other thing I want to ask you, you talked about shut down corner and having a special guy outside at corner. And obviously in college, I grew up Michigan fan, so you were the first person I seen go both sides of the ball, right? And obviously Jabril Peppers was next after you to do it, and obviously wore the Michigan uniform. But now you got Travis Hunter, who did it at a very high level on both sides. So I just want your opinion or your thoughts on Travis Hunter, and if you think you see him at wide receiver, corner, or if he does a little bit of both here in the NFL.
Yeah, man. First, just a phenomenal athlete. Um, to go out there and run 100 and 15, 20 plus plays, every game, and I mean every game. That's pretty impressive. I tell people, it's not just the amount of plays that he played. He really made impact plays on both sides of the ball. And so as I see him in the NFL, he's just, such a dynamic athlete. For me, I don't believe that, he's the type of player that you want to just have on the sideline for, 50, 60 snaps of a game, depending on what side of the ball he's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way I would play him is that, I would play him as a defensive back. But offensively, I'm going to have a package here or there, depending on our matchups that week, whatever game we're playing. Like if we're playing Cincinnati and he's got Higgins and Jamar Chase, then good chance, man, you got to lock in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might not get an offensive rep this game. But if it's a different team that, is not stacked like that at the wide receiver position, then he's going to play defense, and then I'm going to have a package for him on offense. You know what I'm saying? If there was, if someone was saying though, hey, he's coming in, but we only want him to play one side of the ball. Honestly, I think he's more natural at playing receiver and attacking the football as a receiver. So if he was going to be just one side of the ball, I would play him at receiver. But I know he don't want that, and I'm thinking teams will, look at his athleticism and playmaking ability, and they want to, utilize him some. So I would have him. He's my defensive guy. He's on the defensive side of the ball, running around with whoever. But there's going to be some packages. I got to utilize that offensive prowess that he has on the offensive side of the ball. So that's the way I would use it.
There's got to be advantages to your point. Like he can high point the ball. His ball skills are obviously high level, if not elite, at least from what we've seen. And you know better than anyone, you're a ball hawk. So putting that on him on the other side of the ball too, at least for certain plays, he might come up with one. That's a hard trait to have as a DB. Maybe I'm wrong, but you would know obviously better than myself.
Well, yeah, and for him, like I said, he's just a natural. He's got that natural ability, and that's one thing that you really, the way he goes and get it, you can't really coach it that level. Like in your drills, you can say, hey, high point the ball, but some guys are naturally going to do it. Some guys you got to really talk them through it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. For him, you don't have to do any of that. He understands. The most important thing after is that ball, and I'm gonna get to it. You know what I mean? So,
facts.
But the thing I understand is where teams will be coming from, because his thought is, hey man, I want to do what I did in college and play every play. But if you got a starter on defense, a starter on offense, that guy gets hurt. I just heard somebody say this the other day, so I'm stealing from somebody. So you lose two people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose two people. You lose a DB and a receiver.
Fact.
So
double-edged sword a little bit.
we got to keep guys on the field. They drafted you for a reason, because they need you. It can't be rehabbing on the sideline during the game. So
To that point, I'm interested to hear your perspective. I know, back in the day, you're able to influence a game in all three phases, right? They now have the new kickoff and the kick return structure. Is that something that you could see a Travis Hunter being able to influence, or is that something where, hey, keep him on the sideline, use him for his two packages, really not much opportunity to make a big play on those?
Yeah, nah, I think he's going to do enough, in terms of, the offense and defense. I don't think you need to stick him back there. I mean, guys have, if you got, you had Rod Woodson, you had, Dion. I returned a few kicks, during my career in terms of being a punt returner. So if you want to use him as punt returner, here and there, I could see that. But having a guy who is your punt returner, like not have him be the guy. But like I said, man, when you're athletic as he is, you're trying to get the most out of him, without, one, running him down, or two, putting him in bad situations, where he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But the more times I can get the ball in his hands, the more times I feel like good things are going to happen. So
Facts.
I would say punt return. Forget kickoff. Forget the kickoff. But
Yeah.
punt return. Yeah, let him do it.
What's up, Condor Cartel? I've got some exciting news to share with you. The Bitcoin conference is coming to Las Vegas on May 27th to the 29th at the Venetian. The Bitcoin conference is the world's largest gathering of Bitcoin enthusiasts and industry leaders, hosting names like Michael Saylor and Donald Trump. This is the premier event to dive deep into the world of Bitcoin with presentations from renowned experts, groundbreaking announcements, and invaluable networking opportunities. Whether you're a seasoned Bitcoiner or just curious about the future of digital capital, this conference has something for everybody. Plus, the official after parties every night, it's not just about learning. It's about connecting and celebrating with like-minded individuals. What better city than Las Vegas, Nevada? The Rush audience gets a special 10% discount on all ticket types. Just go over to b.tc/conference/2025 and use code THERUSH at checkout. That's b.tc/conference/2025 and use code THERUSH, THERUSH at checkout. Go snag your ticket today. Secure your spot now and join the digital revolution. This is your golden ticket to be part of an event that will define the future of finance. Let's get it! Hey, and so we talked a little bit in the beginning of the show from Ohio. We don't get to talk to a lot of people that, get into the Hall of Fame. Started your career in Ohio, you ended your career in Ohio. What is it that Maxx has to do or that you see about Maxx? And I always tell him it's his future home right up the road. We'll take it to Canton, pick out his place he wants his bust. What is it that he needs to do or that he's doing right now to join you in that fraternity of brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Well, he's on the right track. I think what I would say is, this is the one thing you really can't control, and that's stay healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is you do all you can as a player to keep yourself in the best shape, keep your body strong. And so I know he does that. But in terms of the way that he plays the game, like that's the formula.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's not a real secret. When we talked about Travis and the amount of plays he played, people always marvel at that part of it, which is great. But it's about what you do when you're out there. And so when you watch Maxx on the field, it's 100% effort every time. But you can give 100% effort and not make no plays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But if you're out there giving that type of effort, and a year ago, was it last year? I think we had this on our show on Fox, and it was like, who at that point was the defensive player of the year, and like the stats that he was putting up with not really having anybody else around him putting up any stats, but him making the plays, helping in football games, with a big sack, stopping guys in the backfield, in the run game, holding up the edge in the run game, being available, like I said. And then not only that, I know that, because I'm around, the Raiders organization. And so I know the way that the coaches talk about Maxx. I know the way the players talk about Maxx. And so not only does he do it himself on the field and is a leader and is someone that those guys can look to, he pulls those guys with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's a combination of, what you're doing on the field, what you're doing in practice, what you're doing in the building. I know how he is getting in the building early, when nobody's there early in the morning. I know all that. You know what I mean? And if I know all that, then that means the other players know all that. And so he's doing his part. You know what I mean? So now it's the organization part. But let's put the people in a place around him so that what he does can be maximized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No pun intended. You know what I mean? Maximize.
Yeah.
But
100%.
everything he's doing right now is that thing. Like that's what he has to do. And so only been in the league. What was this for you now?
It's going into year 7. Yeah, going into 7 now. Yep.
7 years. He's already on that track, man. It ain't gonna be, 2 too many more years where they're just like, hey man, 5 years after, man, he's in.
No, I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you. We've had a lot of conversations, and whether you know it or not, you're a major inspiration. And not only just because of what you did on the field, I think it's all the other things. You know what I mean? You look at the impact you made on the game, the longevity. I mean, all of that combined is the reason why you're in Canton. And there's no debate or argument about it. You know what I mean? And I think that's even doper. Like, there's some guys that get in there like, well, Charles Woodson is one of the greatest defensive backs and football players.
Yeah, don't even think about it. Don't even think about
it. I tell them that all the time, like, undisputed, like there's no argument, and that's what I push for every single day. So you recognizing that and being in my corner is super dope. And I wanted to piggyback off that. You played 18 years in the league. You had a couple injuries here and there. You mentioned, you broke your leg and things like that. But what was the secret sauce for you that you were able to play a position like DB, which is one of the hardest positions, and you got to be the most athletic, arguably the most athletic guy in the field? How were you able to do that for such a long time and at a high level?
Well, first off, this is how I kind of start that off with anybody who asks me, is that at the basis of it is hard work. You know what I mean? So you don't get anywhere that you're trying to get, without the hard work. Second of all, man, you got to want it. You know what I mean? You gotta want to be great. You know what I mean? You want to be great at what you do. Try to be a great teammate. You know what I mean? All of that stuff goes into it. I would say that in terms of the injuries, I had my fair share, in terms of, broken bones, like, broke my leg twice, collarbone a couple times, ribs, all of that good stuff. But I think the one thing about my injuries is that they were bone injuries, and really bone, it'll grow back stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't have the type of, soft tissue, or I didn't have like the ACLs and things like that were really, harder to come back. Some guys are having these, Achilles injuries right now. So those are, really major injuries, sometimes hard to come back from. Mine, I was able to come back because I didn't have anything that really had to be sewn back together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, I think from there, man, I really there's a little bit of luck involved. You know what I mean? Because all of us, you would love to play as long as we want to play. But, you run into a circumstance where this one thing happens and it kind of, takes your career a certain way that you don't anticipate. And so, for me, I feel like, mentally, I feel like I was a very strong player in terms of from a week to week, standpoint. Some games are a lot tougher than others, and that, how it is, that Monday to Sunday morning, man, sometimes you don't know. You know what I mean? That body is like, ooh, man, you gonna do this again? Like, why would you do this to yourself? You know what I mean?
What are we doing?
And I had to do that a lot. You had to do it a lot. I've watched you out there with your injuries as well. So you gotta be able to play through some stuff.
Hell
you know what I mean? You gotta be able to play through some stuff. If you're not willing to get out there and play banged up, then of course you won't play as long, because they're gonna find somebody else eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in terms of the position, you get better with age, get better with understanding the game, you get better with understanding what the film is telling you, and how and what the formation is saying to you, what the down and distance is saying to you, what the personnel is saying to you. And then from there, you got to go out and make plays. I remember I had a video when I was back in Oakland, my second time around. And I think the video, I said, man, these Thundercats asked me, how I play so long. And I said, man, it's easy. Work hard and make plays. You know what I mean? And that's really how the game goes. Work hard and make plays. Of course, stay healthy is in there. But if you're not making plays, you can stay in the league 4 or 5 years. You have your good little run for a couple of years, and then you got to go.
Done.
But if you want to play 10 plus years, you want to make 9 Pro Bowls. You want to, play 18 like I did, then you got to be making plays. Like they ain't having you on the team for 18 years if you ain't making no plays.
Facts.
So
Facts.
yeah, so that, I mean that's kind of, in a long-winded way, kind of the way it gets to 18 years and playing as long as I played.
Oh yeah. No, even some of the highlights too. Like I was watching your final like second stint Oakland Raider highlights, and you had some interceptions that were ridiculous. Like there was one on the sideline you caught on the top of your shoulder and got like taken out in midair. And that's like year 17, 18. I'm like, people aren't doing this. Like nobody's doing, like that's the thing that I think is so dope is like you were doing that in year 17. I can't name one DB that is in year 17 or 18 right now, and especially playing it the way you were doing it. Like that shit is an inspiration to me. So I know I've said it multiple times.
I just saw that play, which is funny. No, I just saw that play too, and I sent it to my boys, and my youngest son texted me back. He was like, "Dad, I didn't know you were 39 years old when you did that."
That's the response. That's not nice.
It's a little bit different.
Nice.
Damn, you were 50 when you picked that shit. Hell yeah.
That's what he was worried about. He was like, "Hey, you was 39, bro."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll still do it right now at 48 or whatever you said you were, right?
Hey, for real. I let him know. I ain't done
How old
yet.
are the boys right now? How old are the boys?
16 and 14.
Oh, okay, so they're getting ready to get in the recruiting trail and all that right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. My oldest son's been getting a few offers. So that's we're kind of starting that process now. So I'm enjoying it, man. Everything is kind of going, coming full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How are you in those moments? I'm just curious. Like we obviously all went through the recruiting trail and we had parents. I'm curious for you. You've seen it all, done it all. You know when people are bullshitting you and you know when people are keeping it real. Like, how are you kind of, if you don't mind sharing, like on these recruiting trips or when talking to coaches, like how do you approach all that?
Man, right now I'm tripping out,
Chilling.
man. I'm tripping out because, like you said, we've all been through it, but you don't ever know. What the next generation is going to do. I don't know if my kids are going to like football, want to play football, or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if it'll be flag football by that time.
Whatever it is, Yeah, you never know. But they fell in love with the game. They were old enough to understand what I was doing as little kids being around it. And of course now they're playing. But for me to be, to take him to a college and watch practice with him and kind of be on that field, man, I'm like a little kid again, to be real honest with you.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I get more excited than he does, because I've been through it. I know what it feels like, but I'm so excited for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to kind of control it, and he's really cool, and he's just watching him practice. And I'm like, I'm trying not to embarrass him. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, you getting offers, you getting recruit, man. This is, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's a cool experience, man. To for them to just be enjoying some success themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having an opportunity and having people look at them and have people look at their film and say, oh man, there's some potential there. Like that's, man, I love every minute of it.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
Does he have an Eastern Michigan offer yet?
I always feel like the Michigan offer is it's inherent. Like I don't got to see it.
Yeah.
I don't got to see it, but he's got it.
It'll be there.
To your point, D, if not, Ypsilanti's right down the road.
We're right down the road. We'll get him.
We'll make one call. You got 3 Ipsy guys in here. We'll definitely, if he needs any help. So I've been searching forever for a protein shake with clean ingredients that actually taste good. I got introduced to Slate protein drinks by my brother, Dana White, and I was hooked immediately. Slate is hands down the best protein shake on the market. It tastes incredible. All of the flavors are incredible, but I can't stop drinking the French vanilla, which legit tastes like melted ice cream. What I eat can have huge effects on my performance, so I'm always paying attention to what I'm putting in my body. Each can of Slate has 20 grams of protein, 100 calories, and only 1 gram of sugar. I drink this I drink 2 of them actually after every workout, and I drink 2 every single morning. And that is not a lie. I know I'm an investor and I know I'm part of the team, but I'm telling you the truth because Slate is a part of my everyday routine. Plus, it's made with no artificial ingredients. That means no artificial sweeteners or flavors. I drink Slate every single day, and now my teammates are drinking it as well. If you're looking for a pick-me-up, Slate has a line of high-protein iced coffees that have 20 grams of protein plus as much caffeine as 2 cups of coffee. I mean, it's a double whammy. Unbelievable. Start your day the right way. Sometimes, instead of the coffee, I'll grab the mocha latte to get extra protein in the morning. You can find Slate everywhere at retailers nationwide, including Walmart, Target, Kroger, Safeway, and Albertsons. Looking to get Slate delivered directly to your door? Get 15% off your order on slatemilk.com with code RUSHPOD. That's RUSHPOD. Go get that right now. Slate Milk, best protein shakes in the game.
Hey, I want to switch gears with you just a little bit. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has been quoted before saying you're the best player he's ever played with. So obviously there's a lot of buzz on what he's going to do. Does he retire? Does he go to Green Bay? What's that look like? Kind of just want your thoughts on what's going to go with what you think is going to go on with Aaron here in the next few days, if not next few weeks.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't see him retiring. But I think A-Rod enjoys having leverage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the one in charge, and nobody's going to rush him on a decision. You know, he's going to, of course, he's going to do what he wants to do, but nobody's going to rush him into anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he likes that position.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think that he's going to retire. I think he's going to give it another run. I feel like, when he went to New York and, came out in that opening game and he got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
that was, the amount of buzz and positive energy around that team at that time. They thought they were a quarterback away and they were going and win it. And then he gets hurt, comes back the next year. And of course, I mean, man, coming back off an Achilles, you're not going to come back 100 right away. So, you got to kind of feel your way through it. And he plays some decent ball. Of course, it's not like the 4-time MVP Aaron that we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
but he did get through that year. And so I think I'm imagining that he's fully healthy right now. You know what I mean? It probably feels like he's going to try to go somewhere. And hopefully they have, the proper structure in place, coaching.
Yes.
You need some weapons, of course, on the outside, receiver-wise. You want to be protected offensively, and you want to have a good defense. If you have those things and you have a healthy A-Rod, then you got to feel pretty good about that. So I'm sure he's taking his time, and but he's going to play somewhere, I believe.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, we just we had this whole breakdown last week, and they were giving me some shit because I was like, I can't see him in a Steelers uniform for some reason. I don't know what, I don't know why, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't see, I don't know. In my brain, I can't comprehend that. So until it happens, if it happens, I'm going to take my stance probably. But no, I agree.
The crazy thing for me is having played with Brett Favre, having played with Aaron Rodgers, to kind of see their paths take similar form.
Yeah.
Like for us, we could never imagine seeing Brett Favre in a Vikings uniform.
No.
Yeah.
Like Brett, what?
It didn't look right. It still doesn't look right.
It's crazy, And so I know there was some talks initially that A-Rod might be going there. So it was even crazier for me because it's like Brett Favre, Packers, New York Jets, Vikings. Here's A-Rod, Packers, New York Jets, Vikings. I'm like, this dude is really going to follow the same blueprint as Brett Favre. So
yeah,
for me, it'll be hard for me to see him, in the Vikings uniform. I think I would probably rather see him in the Steelers uniform, but it'll all be weird no matter how you do it.
Yeah, facts.
I hope not.
He's a Browns fan. Yeah.
He's a big Browns guy over here. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My life's going really well.
I told him, he's a Raider now. There's no excuse. You're like my brother, basically. We're done.
We're in.
You're all in.
We're done.
You're all
the way out on this.
I'm deciding for you.
And obviously, Aaron gets a lot of slack, I think, from the media and people who don't really know him, and he likes it that way. He doesn't want you to probably know him, like, truthfully, right? So as a teammate, as a guy who played with him for many years, you mentioned leverage with Aaron. Does that stuff bother guys in the locker room like it seems to bother the media? And like, or do you respect it? Like, just kind of your thoughts on playing with Aaron and kind of just the way he is and the way that he navigates through all these waters.
I think it bothers the people who don't have leverage. You know what I mean? Um, everybody wants to live in a perfect world for sure. Um, and so, to have a guy who has that type of leverage, and especially if you're on the team and you're thinking, hey, we're a guy away. What's this guy going to do, man? You know what I mean? Coming here or not coming here, man? We want to know. We want to know right now. But when that player who doesn't have the leverage, all of a sudden at some point has the leverage, then they're going to be doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So everybody, people pick and choose what they want to be mad about. But when the shoe's on the other foot and you have the leverage, you don't want to hear nothing from nobody. You're like, man, I'm gonna take my time. You know what I'm saying? But you were just the guy, pissed off about the other guy not moving at the pace that you want him to move. So I just think it depends on, what level you're on, within that organization or the locker room. So yeah, for me it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. Did you have a good relationship with him? Obviously, you guys won the Super Bowl together. You guys both only, your one Super Bowl was, together. What was he like as a teammate? Did you enjoy your time with him?
Yeah, we had a great relationship. He was, just a young guy though. I mean, I think when I got there, it was my 8th year. So it was his 2nd year because I think he got drafted. I think the year before I got there. But yeah, he was the backup. He was the backup to Brett Favre. And so we kind of developed, a pretty good relationship because when he was on the the look team, the scout team, and I'm the first team defense, we would always have like our little battles. You know what I mean? The dude could sling the rock. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like just going against your standard backup player.
Yeah.
Like he was going against a dude that was a real deal. So we had really good, battles in terms of that. So I think that kind of forged our relationship a little bit, as we grew within that team. And then as he took over, he was, he's following the legend, you know what I mean? And so I think during that time, man, we had some, great just one-on-one conversations between me and him, different situations or what he was going through himself. And Mike, hey man, Charles, how would you handle this? I would give my little piece of advice, and we were good. You know what I mean? So I felt like, for me, I felt like it ended a little bit too early, man, because they let me go in like 2012, I believe it was. And I feel like it was still some good things that we could have done on the field together, me on the defense, him on the offense, but didn't work out that way. But yeah, man, to me, he was always a good dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's dope. I kind of wanted to shift. I got one more question, boys, and I'll pass it on. But obviously talking about legendary quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Michigan guy. Obviously, you guys had your rivalry, and now he's a part of our nation, the right nation. But in that time when the whole Tuck rule thing happened, obviously you guys had your little segment. You went on TV, you talked about it, joke about it, things like that. How long did it take you in that actual moment, like after the game happened and, obviously your season ending, everyone knows, in my opinion, it was a fumble, most people's opinion. How long did that sting and how long did it take for you to kind of let that go and move on? Because I know as a competitor, you're an ultimate competitor. That shit probably bothered you for a while.
Yeah, I think that in terms of getting over it and of course, going about your business, like, a play doesn't affect the rest of your career. Like you got to go do your thing. So in terms of getting over it and going to do my job, like it is what it is. But as far as it stinging shit, it still stings. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why is this. It's like, we work really hard at what we do to try to get to a certain point. You know what I mean? And that point is, one, try to win your division, try to get into the playoffs. And then, of course, win how many ever games you got to win to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And I remember for us, going there, we're a West Coast team, they're East Coast. I remember, all the talk was, oh man, the West Coast team, they ain't gonna be able to go into New England and beat these guys. The weather was supposed to be, crazy weather-wise, and nobody really was giving us a shot.
Yeah.
So for us, we went in there and we were prepared and ready to play in whatever weather. And so we did the things that we needed to do to win that game. And so when that play happens, I don't know if you guys know like the, kind of the sequence of it or remember that, but when I stack him and we get the fumble, if we get the ball, we can run the clock out.
Yeah.
Game's over.
Ball game.
You know what I mean? So it's not like we had to put together 3 or 4 more plays. We didn't have to do any of that. And so where the sack happened, because of the time that it happened in, they went to the review. And so a referee review. And so a couple of second difference and we're not having this conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how crazy just 1 second on the clock, 1 second with me coming on the swipe, and hitting and causing a fumble, and a whole lot of things are different, So my thing is that, man, for a player, to have a game taken from you in that fashion, that you've kind of just, man, you discredited all the work that our team put into getting to that moment.
Yeah, they robbed you.
And making a call that is in our minds, of course, it's clear where the ball was and where the ball wasn't.
Yeah.
What he could do with the ball at the time and what he couldn't do with the ball. So it wasn't for us. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard decision to see, what it should have been. So, and then from that standpoint, I think we're better. I think we could go on the road. Of course, this is all hypothetical now, but I feel like we can go on the road and beat Pittsburgh. I feel like we can go in with what we had, with Rich and Jerry and Tim and Charlie Garner, our offensive line. Dog,
stack.
We could go in there and we could beat a Rams team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you never know that because they decided, right? Which now all these years later, it's they changed the rule. You get what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
So that type of thing is like, I've never been able to get away from the play. And that's a part of the reason why it still stings, is because every year on my Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, it's the anniversary of the tuck rule. You know what I'm saying? So you can't get away from it, man.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it.
No doubt.
All right, I got one last before we jump into these next segments. Life after football, obviously, you do a lot of things, but thing that near and dear we talked about earlier is the Woodson Whiskey, right? Talk to me a little bit how you got into that. You're selling it in over 1,000 stores nationwide, which is an incredible feat. What made you want to get into that and start this product? And talk to me a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, so just to back up, I was already in the wine business, for years. And for me, I thought the perfect thing for me is to kind of add to, what I was doing in the wine world was to add a spirit. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like in terms of having, whenever I do wine dinners and those types of things, if I didn't, or before I had the whiskey, then, there was somebody else's, spirit that you were making cocktails with. After the wine dinner, there'd be an after dinner drink. It'd be somebody else's that they'd have to bring in, for that experience. And so I wanted to kind of have the whole total experience. I want you to be able to come in, have an old fashioned, as a cocktail. Then let's get into the dinner. Let's get into, the Chardonnay, Pinot, Red Blend, Cab, and then after dinner drink, maybe you have one neat, or maybe we have a Manhattan, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? So um, I ended up meeting, the guys who are my partners probably about 5 years ago now, and we kind of talked through, our vision, what we wanted to do, and through that time, I had started, sampling, different bourbons and kind of seeing, what I liked, what I didn't like. And then from there, man, we started doing our research, started getting samples from Kentucky. Samples were sent to me. I would, taste through profiles and what I liked, what I didn't like, kind of the style I wanted to be in. And then from there, man, once we kind of settled on, where I wanted to be from a, I guess a flavor profile, proof, profile, that sort of things, man, we secured, our barrels, and kind of the rest is history. So it was all about having a total experience, with the product and the brands that I had. So for me, man, it's been a lot of fun, having my whiskey be the official, bourbon of the Las Vegas Raiders is huge. Official bourbon of the Michigan Wolverines, now Michigan Athletics,
Hell
which
yeah.
is huge, so it's been great, man. It's a grind, it's a tough business. There's a lot of different labels out there. There's a lot of bigger companies out there with a lot of different labels, so you're always, fighting and crawling and scratching, trying to be noticed, and to try to have some relevancy and sustainability. So we've been working our ass off, myself and my team, man. So we're just gonna keep grinding, keep doing what we're doing. And like I said, if we had a little more time, I would have had you guys set up so you can,
Hell yeah.
have a little toast with me. You know what I mean?
Listen, it won't be
No
our
doubt.
last episode, so you just
Yeah,
let me
we're
know.
gonna do one
We're
in
doing it in
Vegas
person.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It takes balls to sack a quarterback. It takes Sax underwear to support your balls. I've teamed up with Sax as their newest ambassador to bring you game-changing underwear. Sax underwear is versatile and comfortable. I wear it to train, hang out, and even sleep. They've got a pair for everything, and it allows me to be limitless every day. Use my code, TheRush24, for 15% off at Sax.com. Sax underwear with the ballpark pouch changes the game. Period.
Perfect. Let's get into our segments then. We got two segments before we send you off. We're going to start out with Rushmail. That's fan submitted questions from our socials. They'll submit some questions for you.
Obviously, we already heard which position you like more. But from Raiders Zahn, how was your switch from corner to safety? And then we already know the answer, like I said, of which position you like more. But just curious how that conversation went, and were you all for it? Were you reluctant? What was it like?
No, I had gotten to a point really in my career where it was kind of how people saw me
Mm-hmm.
at that point, which was cool, because then I started to look at it as a challenge. It's like, okay, these people are trying to really run me out of the NFL. So let me show them that I'm a football player. You can put me anywhere I want, anywhere you want me,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna be good. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm a football player. I'm not I don't consider myself a corner or a safety.
Yeah.
I'm a football player. And so in terms of the transition, again, you put me out on the field anywhere, you know what I'm saying? You put me opposite of Maxx, I'm gonna survive. You know what I'm
Hell yeah.
saying? I'm gonna figure it out, right? Getting back there at safety, I could always tackle. You know what I mean? I've always had, I still had speed. I have great ball skills. And so I went out there my first year when I got back to the Raiders, playing safety, and played decent. But you know what? You can always be coached. And once I got Marcus Robertson, who was a safety in the NFL for years, then he really coached me up on how to be a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That makes sense. So I
Yeah.
was in that back end now as a football player, but he helped mold and create me into a safety and seeing it from a safety's eyes, because I was back there. I was at the safety position still playing corner in a lot of ways. Because
Yeah.
I was quick on everything, trying to. I see something, at the line of scrimmage. I'm trying to get there. It's like, dude, you 20 yards deep. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay back, man. You know what I mean? So once I got with him, man, then that's when it really like was like, okay. I started to see things differently, and always give him this credit, because at 39 years old, we talk about that play earlier. I made the Pro Bowl, at 39 years old. So much love to Marcus Robertson, and going from corner to safety was, I would say, smooth transition, but got better.
Yep.
Once I got with Marcus.
Hell yeah. 39 making the Pro Bowl. That's crazy.
39, man.
Crazy.
Obviously, it was asking about Woodson Whiskey ever coming to the Midwest, but you just hit on you're there at the Michigan Wolverines. That's the Midwest. The last time I checked. So
it's not in Ohio though. You can't sell it in Ohio, can you?
Working on it, man. Working on it. That's been
you should sell it to every place in Columbus that puts the X on the M's at every bar or whatever. You should purposely just put them in there just to prove a point.
Yeah. It's only right.
No doubt. Hey, and it's Woodson Whiskey. They won't have any M's to X out.
That's right.
What I mean? So,
They got to see the logo.
Thanks.
All right, I got one for you before we do the next segment. Gatto Elfix, I don't know, man. They said, what was going through your head when that guy ran on the field on your last game at Oakland? Is that something you remember?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Dog, it's well, just think about I don't know. I can't say it to Maxx, because like if you're on the defensive line, there may be a linebacker that comes and taps you, like move inside or move outside.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm at safety.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden I'm out there and somebody kind of, hits my hip. And so I'm thinking, why would somebody be touching me like right now? You know what I mean? Because the play is about to happen.
Yeah.
So when I turned, I looked and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like it's not the referee.
Yeah.
It's not a player. It's just a guy, man.
You had a streaker?
White dude, and he just stands back and throws up the O. And I'm like, this is crazy. So they, when everybody rushes and they grab him, I think I asked one of the referees, I was like, man, should I throw the O back? He was like, throw it back. I was like,
Place went nuts.
So at that moment, I was like, I think it's two emotions. One is like, damn, I made it. You know what I mean? Like I'm really that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, man, somebody messed up their whole season ticket for them and their family to come out here and hug me on the field. And then at the same time, it's like he could have came with bad intentions, and he would have got home. You know what I mean? Like my back is to him. The play is about to happen. Guy runs on the field, man. Anything could have happened. So it was like, it was cool and kind of scary all at the same time.
Facts.
Yeah, I don't know how you mentally prepare for something like that. I mean, there's probably
you don't
going through your head like, what the is going on right now?
Exactly.
That's crazy. Let's finish it off. This is one of our favorite segments. We call this Mount Rush. Every guest, we spice it up depending on their position, what they do, profession, all that. So, primarily you being a DB, we wanted to ask you who is your Mount Rushmore for wide receivers in the NFL that you played against? It might not be the number one guy that everyone says, Randy Moss, Calvin. Who were, in your opinion, the four hardest guys you had to face during your career?
Marvin Harrison, Randy Moss, T.O., Calvin.
Easy work.
Yeah, that's easy work.
That was off the top. That was
no question.
Yeah,
no
easy
doubt.
work.
Who would you put at number one? who would be your guy that stood out the most?
Marvin to me was the hardest guy I covered.
Damn.
Yeah, he was, I caught him when I first got into the league, so I was, young. And we a couple times I played him, we went to Indianapolis. And so, we're playing in Indy on that. I hated the turf over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, then he had, young Peyton Manning throwing to him too. You know what I mean? So they had good teams. But, Marvin, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I think he's a guy that could have been the first ballot Hall of Famer. He had everything. He was fast. He was quick. He ran great routes. And the thing I always tell people was like, he didn't move around much. Like he wasn't a guy that, started over here, motioned over here.
Yeah.
His ass was going to be right here and you had to deal with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say Marvin. To me, he was always, I always tell people he was the toughest guy for me.
Damn. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And, some people might be surprised by that, but it's true. I remember, just watching the Colts as a kid, all those battles between the Patriots and Colts, like Marvin Harrison's unguardable, basically. I mean, that dude, like you said, could do it all. Even Calvin, watching Calvin, you versus, I grew up a Lions fan, so watching you play against Calvin, I mean, you probably feel old by me saying that, but those are the matchups, we used to watch. You guys, I mean, Megatron was just so damn big. And just a freak of nature. It's crazy, all those guys, T.O., Randy Moss, all of them are just unicorns in their own right. So, yeah, that's an elite list to say the least.
Absolutely.
To say the least.
Do you see, really quick before we do wrap you up, do you see, obviously, Marvin Harrison's son out there making plays now and obviously in the league? Do you see similarities when you watch and turn on the film or watch a game between him and his pops?
Honestly, man, he's so much bigger than his dad. You know what I mean?
Like, true.
It's crazy, especially height wise. It's like, yeah, he's gonna be another guy. He's gonna be a problem. I think he's just different in that respect because he's bigger. He runs decent routes, but I would definitely, his dad, was definitely a better route runner. But in terms of like arm radius and height, having good speed.
Yeah.
Like, man, he's going to be a problem as he gets seasoned in this league, you know what I mean, and just becomes better at playing at the NFL level. He's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, Charles, you already know how we feel about you. You taking the time. I know it was a little bit short notice, but we're definitely going to have to do this again in person. Like you said, we'll get the boys, get drinking some Woodson whiskey. We can smoke some cigars and do it properly out here in Las Vegas. But we love you, brother. We appreciate you. You know how much you mean to me and how much inspiration that you give me. It truly means the world. And even the little things you gave me, this a few years ago, even, talking about the fans and just little things that you've, shared with me, it truly has been taken into consideration. And I got a lot of work to do, like we talked about earlier. But a career like yours is something that I admire and aspire to be like. So you taking the time, we truly appreciate you. And we'll definitely have to run this back again.
My man. Appreciate it, man.
You're the best, brother.
Good to be on with you guys. Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Walk up in this bitch like, yeah, I'm really him.